This is the Lyndsay Stafford Show.
All right. Hello. Welcome back to the Lyndsay Stafford Show. I am so excited to be back. I am here with Drake Young from Pure Southern Water, who owns Pure Southern Water and Air, focuses on water, but does both. And you are watching a series or listening to a series that is now about failures. So we want to destigmatize failure in business and show entrepreneurs the real true colors of you fail when you start businesses. There's things that go wrong. You don't get there without making mistakes. And so we're going to unearth and uncover some failures today. You're going to share some. I'm going to share some. But first, I want to hear about your business. So thank you so much for being here. I've had the pleasure of working with you for a couple of years now and your entire team. And I have nothing but great things to say about Pure Southern Water. And I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about you and your business.
For sure. Well, thank you for having me, Lyndsay. I'm Drake Young. I am one of the co-founders of Pure Southern Water. We're a local water filtration company. So we take care of water filtration from the beginning to the end. We'll come out, we'll test your water. We'll show you exactly what's in it. We'll customize a solution based off exactly what you're looking for. We'll install it, and then we'll maintain that system for life for you. So we're kind of like a white glove service. Yeah. There's nothing we want the homeowner to do. We just want to take care of all the issues for them and them just get to enjoy some filtered water.
That's the best. You know what drives me nuts? When I have people come to my house to do like projects and I'm like, I had somebody come once, an electrician, who I was like, okay, this is where I want the outlet. Like, can I go back into my office now? This is what and they wanted me to walk them through all these things. I'm like, I don't know. Can you just go find whatever you need in my house and just put the outlet there? I don't want to have to be interrupted to like walk through things.
Exactly.
So
like
I love
they're
that.
The experts. So like we're the experts. So, we'll lay out what's in your water and we'll kind of talk to the homeowner and see what's concerning them, what bothers them, what they want removed. But, we're the experts. So we want to be like, hey, this is what we recommend. This is what I would go with. If you want something else, we can customize it for that. But this is what I would do just to make it a pain-free process.
And it so is. Your team is amazing. I've had them come to my house and do the water testing, right? I've been through that whole process. And the team, we talked a little bit before we got into actual recording, which we should have just recorded everything you said. But but your team cares so much and does a really good job. I'm so impressed with their knowledge about the product that they're selling, but also just about water and health. And my son is 15 and he's like a rare breed for 15. So he researches a lot of things about health, nutrition, and he's the one who's like, Mom, we got to do the reverse osmosis water system. Like that should be the number one priority on projects for our house.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about the benefits of it.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I love that he does that research. Sounds like me when I was 15,
yes.
Except I didn't have ChatGPT and all the other resources now.
Well, I had the encyclopedias, but I'm older than you. So,
I can get into a whole long list of why you should get a water filtration system. When it comes to reverse osmosis is the best way to purify your water. It gets rid of absolutely everything that's in your water. And the only controversy around reverse osmosis system is that, it removes the good minerals too. But my thinking and viewpoint on that is, hey, let's go ahead and remove everything from the water. And then we have filters that can add back in the minerals to boost that pH, to boost that alkalinity up. So you kind of get best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what is the process? Like, talk to me about how long that takes. What is the installation process? And then what is the upkeep for the homeowner?
Yeah, for sure. So it all depends on what type of system you get. So like we have whole home systems, we have whole home reverse osmosis systems, whole home filters, whole home water softeners, and then we have drinking water systems like we talked about. Yeah. Reverse osmosis and then just standard carbon filters. So it just depends on which system. For example, for the reverse osmosis, it can be anywhere from a 4-stage to a 6-stage filter. And you kind of need to replace those filters every 12 to 14 months. And there's a membrane on there, which is kind of actually the powerhouse of the reverse osmosis. That one's every 3 years. Okay. But like I said, we don't want you guys to worry about that because we're going to take care of that. We're going to have you in our system and we'll reach out to the customer. Hey, it looks like you're due for your filters when you want to get on our schedule. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
That's amazing. We're going to talk about that right there. Not just the fact that makes it easy for the homeowner. Yes. Like when I have something installed or I don't want to have to think about it, right? We just put our pool in and like, I don't want to have to treat the pool. Like I need somebody to come out and make sure it's always ready to swim in. And that's it. I want to be able to swim in the pool when we're ready to. Yeah. I don't want to have to treat it.
People have enough things to think about.
Yes. It's just one more thing. But talk about that right there, like I had a guy come out before I hired my pool guy. I had a guy that was treating our hot tub before we finished the pool, and he had come out to replace a cover. We needed to buy the new hot tub cover. And he said when he came out, hey, by the way, on the side, because I bought it from a company, and he said on the side, I treat and clean hot tubs. And I was like, yes, please sign me up. Yes, please go ahead and do that, because cleaning the hot tub is not a fun task. Draining it, wiping it out, that whole thing. I've done it. Don't want to do it again. And then when he left, I, paid him or whatever. And I said, you'd be really smart if you just like put me on your list and like just come back every 3 months and just do it. And I feel like there's such a miss in business like that. So how did you come up with, because the way you run the organization has lent to the success of Pure Southern Water and Air. So I'd like to hear you talk about how did you create that system? And this is something I help business owners with. They struggle with creating that customer retention management software, using a CRM to manage your clients, but talk about how you thought through that process and implemented it.
Yeah. Well, so the first thing is we focus on water treatment. That is our focus. We get calls every day about putting in hot water heaters, recirculating pumps, whatever it is. But we're like, nope, we're not doing that. Yeah. We're just doing water treatment. So it allows us to just focus and basically perfect those operating procedures around it.
Yep.
So when a customer calls us or fills out a submission form, it goes to a software. We reach out to that customer, get on the schedule. If they decide to move forward with us, it gets put into our CRM, which is Service Titan, which that's a whole different ballgame. We can go down. It's good, okay. But it's a long process to get rolled out. But once you roll it out, it's extremely easy and streamlined. Once that customer's in Service Titan, then we kind of just build all these automations to where we're reaching out. The system will reach out to them and will remind them, hey, replace your filters, or hey, we'll even do some reach outs as far as, hey, this is a benefit that you're receiving from your reverse osmosis. Just kind of stay top of mind. And because a lot of homeowners, they'll go to the tap water. I'm like, why are you going to your tap water? You got your reverse osmosis right here. But it's just a habit for them. So like, hey, make sure you're drinking that reverse osmosis water.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how did you know to do that? Because we talked about, hopefully you're okay with me saying you're 30. So you're pretty young when did you start the company?
Let's see, 4 years ago. So 26.
Okay. Yep. And I know a little bit already, but the listeners don't know. So talk about how you started it, and then how did you create, because the scale of the business and what you've created in terms of a team, there's a barrier with business owners to go from a solopreneur or even a partnership to scaling to where you guys are now. Most business owners don't see how to do that leap, and you've been able to do that. So I'd like you to talk about how you started and then how you've been able to scale to where you're at, because you're just about to do a new warehouse.
Yep.
Right?
We closed on it about a month ago, so we're building it out right now, and we're super excited about it. So I got started in the industry I was a health freak, so I've always been obsessed with health optimization, whether it's through exercise, diet, breathing, whatever it is, I try and optimize myself. And so I fell in love with the product, and I was like, oh, this is great. I can pair a great product with education and tailored service, and Pure Southern Water was born. And so we just started with me and Dustin, who's one of the other co-founders. It was just me and him in a truck, and we'd show up at the home, we'd test their water, and then both of us would show back up and install the system, and then we'd show back up and follow up with them and retest the water. So we did it all from the beginning. And then, our hands got full like every other business owner does, and we just started to scale out. And I always tell people, I stress no matter what I'm doing in life. I'm under a constant stress. So I might as well stress about bigger problems than smaller problems. And so
I love that. I'm the same.
So, we just started building out the team, and one thing the one thing I'm always looking to do is, how can I think bigger? How can I think bigger? Because now that I have people under us and we have a growing team, like, these people have to have something to grow into as well. So I stress about, hey, I got to grow and I got to continue growing so then my team can grow into bigger roles as well.
You posted a book, I think, on your Instagram stories. I saved it. I can't remember what it was. Something equity, something.
Oh, it was probably,
you were just reading
I was reading a book about private equity.
Yeah, I saved it to my audio list.
Did you?
So I'll listen to it. Yeah, I do. I'm
about 3/4 the way through. But yeah,
cool.
Examples like that. It's, private equity is huge in the home service business. I don't know if we'll ever work with private equity in my entire life, but if that situation comes up, I want to know all the ins and outs and what to prepare for. How can I handle this situation? Yep. And so, yeah, I can kind of go a little stir crazy with trying to figure out all these things, but I just like to think ahead.
I love it. You might like the book. I'm in the middle of reading it right now. It's called Main Street Millionaire.
Cody Sanchez.
Yeah. Did you read it?
I haven't read that one. I follow her.
I like her.
Yeah, she's good.
She's smart. And I just always want to like, whenever I'm looking for a new book, I'm always like, all right, God, just show me like what book I should be. I'm going to go through my list, like which one's right for right now. And so I just randomly started that one. But I want to go back to so you have a partner and it's also family, your brother-in-law, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so. I thought I remembered that. But when you say you two showed up, you did the work, and then it was too much for you. At that point is where a lot of people just go, I just can't take on more work. I can only do as much as I can do. This is where I'm at. I don't want to, I'm not interested in learning how to do more than just this. I want to do the craft and run the business, basically creating a job for themselves, right? Yep. So you had a vision to do something more, but I think this is a great time for us to talk about some of the mistakes that were made as you scaled, but also what made you push through it? Because there's some real pain involved in the emotional piece of I'm scaling and now I have employees and now I'm responsible for, I feel the weight of that every day. Whenever as we scale and my operations manager is like, Lyndsay, we need to hire more people. And I'm like, okay, tell me who we're hiring. Right. And that's a great place to be, but it's also this responsibility when you own a business. And so there's so many barriers to scaling. So talk about what pushed you through that ceiling of just being the two of you. How did you get there?
And it is tough because you want to, as business owners, most of us are control freaks over the product, the process, the service, whatever you're providing. One thing about me is I'm kind of selfish and I only want to do things that I want to do. And so when I find that I'm doing something that I'm not looking forward to that day, I'm like, okay, who can I get some in here that's not only better at me than it, but also enjoys doing it? Yeah. And so as soon as I find that person, I bring them on board. And every time I do it, I'm so thankful. I'm like, why did I not do this earlier? Yes. And so hiring is something that we're really stressing right now. We need to bring on teams. I need to move faster. And so talk about failures. That's one thing I'm failing at right now is not hiring quick enough. Because every time I do hire, I'm so thankful. People are so capable and passionate about things. And, once you get them in and train, they might do something totally different the way you do it. And it might be better than how you did it. But just because you're too afraid to give it up, it's like, you just got to go out there, make the mistake, hire, and trust your people.
Yes, I totally agree. And the hiring process, every time I've made well, not every time, because sometimes you make mistakes. There's been some that you're like, I need that role, but maybe not that person. But I've taken the same approach as I've scaled is, if I don't enjoy something, I don't want to do it. I use the who, not how philosophy of who can I hire to do this? Because it doesn't need to be me. Before we started recording, we were talking about even just at the house, like I have somebody that does returns for me and, goes to the post office and does like tasks that I just don't really want to do. And my time is better spent doing other things. So I will pay people to do all the things I don't want to do. Right. And I think that is where, when you realize the power of other people and leveraging other people, it helps you to unlock that barrier of I'm not comfortable moving to the next level when you start to recognize that. But how did you know to do that?
To be honest, I don't have an answer for that. I was just, I guess how I knew to do it is I've always thought big with this company. My goal is to be a major water filtration company in the Southeast, have multiple locations. And you can't do that with two people. Right. So it was like, we are going to do it. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah. It's, so that's probably the main reason is I kind of have a goal of where I want to be and I can't get there by myself and I can't get there just with Dustin. We need an all-star team around us. Yeah.
Yep. That's great. And I feel like for me anyways, the who, not how, like it truly comes from like, I don't want to do things I don't like. Yep. I don't know. There's not a better way to articulate it other than if I find myself doing something that is not enjoyable,
I get so irritated and it drains me.
Yes, it's draining.
Like with my fiance, like if we're wanting to hang new curtains or something, like, hey, let's just pay somebody because it's going to irritate me. They're going to do it way better and they'll get paid and they'll be happy about it and you'll be happy because the product will be better. Yes. So I'm always down for paying people that are experts.
Yes, me too. That's a key. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about failure in your business. We talked before this, and this is really the first official episode in this series. I did one with Brooke Odell from Sugar Drop, which kind of sparked me in, I got some really nice messages afterwards about the inspiration and the transparency behind somebody saying, I had to close my business. And she's been so generous with sharing her story for other entrepreneurs. And it inspired me to say, well, even successful businesses it's like one failure to the next is how you build it. So let's open up and talk about some of those things where we have failed in our business, and it happens all the time. But when you think about it's hard to go back and go, well, what one do I want to talk about? Because there's so many. But let's talk about, as you scaled your business, what were some of the mistakes that you made? Yeah.
Well, to start, one thing, if you're not failing, then you're not moving fast enough and you're not scaling fast enough. You should be trying to break things. When things are going easy with Pure Southern Water, I start stressing out. I'm like, we're not moving fast enough. We're getting left behind. We're not tinkering with things enough. Relentlessly trying to just improve systems is gonna cause failures. But if you can get through that, you're gonna learn. You're gonna be even better on the outcome. So, just to start, before we started Pure Southern Water, I didn't know much about business, but I knew we needed a website. So I was like, okay, I'm going to teach myself how to build a website. So I probably
you did not use Who Not How at this time.
Exactly.
No.
I probably spent 3 or 4 months teaching myself how to build a website, and it was okay. But literally after that 4 months, I ended up hiring a website designer, and it turned out way better. They got it done in a month, and I could have saved myself 4 months. So that's that was one of the first failures that we had.
Do you think that led to you? Sorry to interrupt your thought. Do you think that impacted your later philosophy of leveraging other people?
It did impact it, but I go back and forth with this because yes, it took me 4 months to build that website and learn all the ins and outs, which is very costly. But at the same time, I got so in the weeds with what needed to be done and how I wanted it to look and what kind of my vision was. It allowed me to direct the website company into the vision that I was wanting. Yeah. And so, I could have saved a lot of time with 4 months, but it allowed me to kind of be in the know of what's going on and how the website team can improve too. So it allows me to give them direction on, hey, we need this, we need that, don't do this, and give them some feedback.
Yeah.
But to your point, it also did. But when you're starting out, you don't have resources like money, and you have time. Time's really all you have.
Yep.
Now that we're a bigger company, we need more time. And so we leverage money and experience to get those things done faster.
Yeah. That's a really good sharing of a time that you learned from making a decision. You're like, I would never make that decision again. Right. I think a lot of my failures in business, and I tell the team every time, like I have a team member that's in a project right now, and we're, as a consulting firm, we're actually in the client's office 20 hours a week. I have one of my team members, project manager, who's executing some things in their office. And part of the 90-day project that we're in the middle of involves this person being in their office 20 hours a week. And as she gets ready to go, the meeting we had before she starts, it's like, hey, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail at things. You're going to make mistakes. And that is part of the process. And we're just going to get through it together. So when you get in there and you find something and you decide you didn't maybe handle it the way you needed to, let's talk through what that looks like and how do we overcome that. So setting the stage that it's okay to fail, I think, is so important in business. And when you come in thinking everything is going to work out perfectly, you don't really set yourself up for reality. And then when you have a failure, it sets you back.
Yeah. Yeah. You just look at failures as learning mistakes, kind of like when something happens, because mistakes happen. So for example, let's say we install a system and we have a leak in that system. Instead of looking at that as a failure, it's like, oh, this is a great opportunity to provide even better service to make this customer a lifetime customer and refer their friends and their family. So you can look at failures from a totally different perspective and you can grow from them. Yeah. I'd rather fail and learn what I did wrong than grow based off an accident.
And be blind because you don't really know what failures you have that you're not being made aware of. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if you saw this, I posted something on, and I wasn't trying to, do anything other than share something I love, but I've got this CalPack carry-on travel bag. I made this mission. This is so stupid. When I worked for Nike, I had the entire central US. I was traveling. I was on like 4 to 6 flights a week, most weeks. Okay. I should have done this then, but instead I waited till I was done with my like traveling career. And now we're on the road all the time for basketball tournaments and stuff on the weekends. But we had this trip to Cabo in April. And so in November, I was like, we're doing carry-on only. I'm not doing international with checked bags. I'm going to make it a mission to figure out how do I travel for a week with just carry-ons. And so I drove my family crazy because I was like researching and figuring out how to do this. But I got this great CalPack backpack. It's awesome. Great carry-on, fits under the seat, carries everything. It's amazing. It's maybe $200, but worth every penny. Waterproof, turns into a backpack, but fits over your suitcase. It's awesome. CalPack. And I had it on my Monos luggage, and I shared a photo of it and was like, oh, I love this backpack. Don't really love this luggage. It's gotten so scuffed up. I prefer our away luggage. We have both kinds. We kind of had away, decided we'll try Monos and see if we like it as well. Price point's the same. It was a little bit bigger. And Monos sent me a message and said, hey, send us your address and we'll ship you new ones. And sent me the entire set, a carry-on and a full-size luggage, new set with covers, and said, hey, no charge. You don't need to send the other ones back. We just want you to have ones that put these on when you're traveling and they won't scuff. Brilliant way to come back from. And so then, of course, I shared that story online. And, now I'm telling everybody on my podcast, go buy Monos, right? Because if you don't love the product, they're going to make it right for you. So that's the approach you're talking about, is you're going to have mistakes. People are going to have times where they're not happy, but you overcome those by just how do we do what's right for the customer and go above and beyond.
Exactly. And we are a family owned and operated business. So Dustin, the co-founder, is actually my brother-in-law. So when I get mad at him, I just can go to my sister and be like, hey, can you get him into shape for me? But
that's hilarious.
At the end of the day, our name is attached to the business.
Yeah.
And so, we might lose money on that job, but in the long run, it's going to help me and my peace of mind. And that customer is going to respect us even more for handling it.
Yeah. I love that philosophy. How do you empower your team members to do that? Like, you've got a big team. Walk us through a little bit about what your team looks like, who's involved, and then how do you empower them? Because I personally, like I said, I've had the pleasure of working with your team. So I know them, but listeners don't know. And you have a team that is really top notch.
Yeah. Well, first off, it starts with the hiring process. So we hire people that we want to work with, that we want to be around, and that we know the homeowners want to be around too. So we hire great people, and then through training, it's all about the customer. Hey, what can we do to make this better for the customer? What can we do to make it easier for the customer? So it's just constant teaching of that, but also it reflects on Dustin and I. If there's ever an issue with the customer, we're on the phone, we're there at their doorstep, literally that day. I mean, I've replaced filters on Christmas Eve myself when it wasn't even our fault, but just the customer had family coming in and they needed their filter replaced and there was no time to do it. So we're going to go out there because the customer is always first, and we want that to reflect on our business.
Yeah. You guys are so great. I remember you were supposed to record with me and I woke up sick. And the night before I had started to feel sick and it was my throat. I was like, there is no way I can do a podcast for 4 hours today. I didn't have a voice really. It was like not great. And you showed up at my door with a Christmas gift. I still have the water bottles. We use them. And we have some at the lake house too, because Marla had given me some. And it was so just above and beyond to, for a Christmas gift. It was December. I'm pretty sure it was Christmas because I have the soaps and but that's the kind of stuff that goes so far when you actually take the initiative to do that. But you've instilled that in your team too. So how do you keep that alive as you grow and you become further removed? How do you keep that alive? And
that's one thing that we're stressing right now, is because we do a lot of volume when it comes to water filters, but we never want to lose that personal touch. Yeah. And that's what we built the business off of. And so if we go away from that, then we're going away from who we are.
Right.
And so it's not like how we do it. It's like we are doing it this way because this is what we do.
Yeah, it's the only way. So then you have to get to a place of higher enough, but do you raise your prices to combat that and to make sure you don't erode your margins, to make sure you're giving that great service and being able to take in as many clients as you're receiving? And that's kind of always that conundrum in business, to figure out what's that perfect sweet spot.
Yep. It's a balancing game. And if you hire the right people, they'll pay for themselves.
Yes.
And your margins shouldn't worry about margins decreasing if you hire passionate, hardworking people.
Yeah. Yep. Who's the first hire that you guys had?
David.
Okay. What does he do?
He's our everything player. So he mainly sells, but he's the guy that we can call on to if we need something done, whether it's an install, a customer issue, a sales call, just checking in on a customer. I will say he never complains about anything. And it was our first hire. He's still with us today.
Wow.
And it's been amazing. He takes a lot of stress off me, and I appreciate him and all he does. So he was the first hire, and it worked out perfectly because he actually had a little bit of a plumbing background too, which is a crucial key for when being your first hire. Because not only could he sell, but he could also be flexible and install and service equipment. And so when you're a small business, you need people that can do just about everything. You don't have the structure and systems in place that a lot of corporations do.
Right.
And so finding that key player at the beginning can really make or break your business.
Oh, yeah. How did you find him?
I think just a job application. I think Indeed, he found our application on Indeed, and he came in, interviewed. We took him to lunch immediately. I think we had an offer out the next week. It was super quick. We knew because we like to take a lot of our interview people out to eat, because if we don't want to go to lunch with somebody that we're hiring, then we don't want them to be here. So,
I do the car test. That's mine.
The what test?
The car test. So back when I was in retail early on, I'm talking decades ago, literally I was a store manager. So decades ago. But when I got promoted, I took an acting assignment as a district manager, and I did that for about 6 months. And my boss at the time, Kim Kiefer, who will forever be somebody that I put on in pedestals, like one of my best mentors I've ever had. We drove from Portland, Maine, or Scarborough, Maine, where I was living, to Presque Isle, Maine. So if you don't know New England, that's like a 4 to 5 hour drive. Okay. And I remember I was so young. And my car, I didn't have a company car at the time because I was still in an acting role. I hadn't officially been promoted and gotten a company car, which then I drove a lot of Ford Escapes. No, thank you. But I had like every color in my career. But my air conditioning went out in my car, and I was going to drive her in summer. So I ended up getting it fixed or getting a rental car. I don't even remember what car, but I remember we drove there, and like pretty soon after that, I was offered a different division or a different district role. And she said, well, you passed the car test. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? She's like, well, if I could sit in a car and talk to you for 5 hours, like I can work with you. And so that's where the car test came from for me decades ago. But I do that now still. Before I'll hire somebody, I'll have lunch with them. That's like lunch or coffee. I want to sit down and like talk to you. But then, okay, I have to go to Nashville or wherever to meet this client or this prospect or whatever, 45-minute drive. Come with me. Let's see how that goes. Because when you're stuck in a car with somebody, you have like, is it awkward or does the conversation flow? And they kind of like, you just learn more about them. So yeah. So if I end up hiring anyone listening to this, we'll do the car test. That's how it works.
I love that a lot. Except instead of 5 hours, you'll do a 30-minute, a little bit quicker.
5 hours was a lot. I remember being like, I'm like 21 at the time or something, like, okay, am I saying enough? Am I saying the right things? And, you can't.
Am I driving okay?
Yes. Yeah. That's the other thing. Am I okay with drive? I should put them in the driver's seat and be like, that's how I should start doing the car test.
Make sure no road rage comes out or anything.
Yeah. I need you to drive me. Okay. So talk to us about your team. You got this new warehouse. You're bringing everyone together. And I know just from our conversation prior to this that, a lot of people are work from home, although I do think that's coming. I think it's coming back. I think that we're seeing people come back together and be united in their work. You are taking that like full force. So talk about the why behind that and what you are doing. Yeah.
So we bought a warehouse just outside of Nashville. And we're doubling down on being in person because we think culture and team building is so huge. So now we have a central headquarters where all of our installers can meet there every day, get their equipment, load the trucks, figure out what they're doing that day. We can have weekly sales meetings there. Dustin and I are there. So if anybody needs anything, they can just stop in and see us. And we also we're building a showroom there too. So if customers actually want to come into and actually you can feel the media, you can see what your system's going to look like. You can see what we can customize for you. So we're doubling down on in office. A lot of our competitors are just working out of a storage unit or, a small office, and that's fine too, but we're going a different direction with it and really doubling down on a big warehouse and in-person meetings and team building and all that. What made you decide to do that? And were you scared to take the leap of that? Oh yes. Super scared. I think our mortgage is probably quadruple what we were originally paying. So it's a big stressor for us. But I have so much faith in our company, our team, and the water filtration industry as a whole that I'm like, this is going to be a great decision.
Yeah.
So when we open up new locations and other markets, this can be kind of our center hub for trainings, for education. They can come in and supervise or shadow rather and see how it runs on a day-to-day basis.
I love it. The vision and that fear that you feel like taking that leap. That is what most people can't move past and just go, no, I'm scared. I've been there too, where it's like, I don't know if I want to take that leap. That's a lot to invest or to change or to grow or, add. And you have to be surrounded by other people that are going to say, no, this is the right move. You're going to be okay. Who's in your corner? Like, who do you go to build you up when you have those fearful moments?
Everybody. I mean, that's one thing that's been awesome with this business is the amount of people that have helped me along the way, whether it's, my fiance, my parents, my brother-in-law, Dustin, my brothers and sisters, or even, I've hired consultants, I've hired business consultants. Then I just have a network of family and friends that have already been there and done that. And so just being able to lean on them just for the reassurance. Now, sometimes they might not even agree with me, but they're there for the reassurance to let me know that whether it works out or not, it's all going to be all right. So I have a incredible network around me that helps me just keep moving, keep chugging along.
So important. I know family is really important to you, and I don't know how much you want to share, but I know that your family is very close. And you're obviously in business with your brother-in-law. And I feel the gift of that too. I kind of say I get the best of all the worlds. My dad is like my business coach. We walk to the gym together every morning, work out, and then walk back. And sometimes we walk additionally. And so I get this executive, he was a VP for Tractor Supply, did logistics, product development, sourcing, all that. But just gets business, and he's willing to talk to me about it every day. Most people don't want to have those conversations all day. I do, you do, but like there are a lot of people that don't. But family has been that particularly, but my whole family has been super instrumental in pushing to say, keep going. You're doing the right thing. Talk about the value of your family being invested and involved, and kind of, do you see them playing a bigger role in the business in the future? Is that something that you've considered? And you guys all live close.
Yeah. Well, so all my family live really close. I'm in Nashville. They're all out of Clarksville. I kind of like their role. So Dustin will be the co-founder and the 50% partner with me, but the family's just there for support, and they let us do our thing. When I come home and I want to rant about something, they're just there to listen. They're there to support. And I think it'll probably stay that way.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Of course, if somebody wants to come in with the business, or, we can grow it to where Dustin's kids can start working for us, whatever that is, I'm sure we'll bring them on. But right now we kind of like it how it is.
Cool. And you just got engaged recently, a couple months ago.
Yep. December.
I was going to say, I think it was like,
I think it was actually the week before we were going to do this podcast originally. So it's probably best that we waited to now, because if we would have done it back then, I was stressing out.
Yeah, you probably were.
I got all this planning I got to do. I want to make sure she says yes and that she's happy.
And it was beautiful. You were at South Hall. The pictures were beautiful. You did such a great job.
Yeah, it was amazing. Shout out to South Hall over there. I told them what I wanted, and they were literally like, we got you.
That is awesome. What a beautiful venue it is too.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. And your pictures were great. You orchestrated it so well. And I knew that it was coming. Like, we had lunch, I don't know when, but you knew it was coming. Yep. It was just like the time to execute happened to be in December. So congratulations. So what's next for Pure Southern? You're opening your new warehouse, bringing everyone together. You have this intense focus on the customer. I know you're a health and nutrition fanatic, which is why I want you to meet Tim and Ashley from 615, Fit15. I have another awesome client, 615 Aesthetics, and sometimes I push their names together, but Fit15, they're same, like-minded. I want to introduce you guys, but what's next? What do you see in 5 or 10 years? Multiple locations. Talk to us about that.
Yep. So just continuing to develop newer, better products and processes. Process is the main thing. So like you said, we will open up newer locations within Tennessee and also other states, so Alabama, looking at Kentucky as well. And we'll see where all it takes us. But yeah, continuing to scale, but also making sure we're scaling controllably. So making sure the processes are there, the procedures are there. I kind of nerd out a little bit when it comes to those things, and I don't want to scale without having it all under control. Of course, when we start to scale, we're going to figure out issues and we're going to have a plan, but that plan's not going to, might not work. It might work. Who knows? But just having kind of a good basis is going to be very key for us to scale.
And SOPs, like you're saying, just having, it's amazing how many businesses don't have SOPs. And I'm talking big, successful businesses that are doing, 5-10 million a year, and the information is all in somebody's head. Nothing is documented. Crazy.
Insane. And, because people need guidance. Like we talked about earlier, how we want to guide the homeowner to, hey, this is a system we recommend based off of what we see, kind of similar to employees. It's and companies. It's, hey, when this happens, this is what we recommend you do. Yeah,
exactly. So very cool. Well, I am so excited to watch your journey and grateful to be a small part of it. And you are doing so many great things. Where can we find you? And so talk a little bit about just to, I want to let listeners, viewers know, how can they find you? What areas do you serve? And what's the next step if they're like, I just want you to come test my water because this all sounds like it might be for me.
Yeah. So you can find us Pure Southern Water, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, our website. Just go to our website and then fill out a submission form, or just give us a call and we'll reach out. We'll find a date that we can come out there. We'll test your water. We'll do the whole science fair project right there at your sink.
It's pretty cool.
And then we don't do any sales tactics or high pressure sales. So whether you want a system or not, that's okay. We're just here to educate and spread the word about how important filtered water is.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on. I want to have you back again because I want to talk about AI. And I think that would be talking about operations. I want to bring you back again and talk through that. But I am so grateful that you came today. Love hearing your story. What's for closing remarks for someone who's afraid to fail in business or has been through a failure and doesn't really know how to come back? What's your advice?
Yeah. Well, if you haven't started a business yet and maybe you're looking to start one, just get started because you're going to fail.
Yeah.
You just got to go. And to the people that are already in business and they're failing, just look at it as a positive. You learned what not to do. Now just do
Don't do that again.
Do what's right. Yep.
Do something different.
Or tweak it a little bit, whatever it is. But the big thing is just get started, dive in, make mistakes, learn, and continue growing as a person and as a company.
I love it. Well, you're just getting started with Pure Southern Water and Air. So I'm very excited to watch your journey. Thank you so much for being here, Drake, and I'll look forward to having you back again.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for all you do for small businesses in Middle Tennessee.
Thank you. Thanks for listening, for watching, for tuning in to the Lyndsay Stafford Show. Like, share, please rate, share, comment, and send this to somebody who you think might benefit from listening to it. We'll see you next time.